A very good evening to you who is following Rwanda television right now. We are happy to be with you today. Welcome to English News Bulletin. We begin with the headlines. Rwanda has announced that it has decided to renominate Louise Mushikiwabo as a candidate for the position of Secretary General of the Organisation Internationale de la Francophonie. In various schools around the country, a campaign to promote hygiene has been launched. We always value your presence, dear viewers. My name is Olipnete. Now let's take a look at the details of the edition. On Monday, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Olivier Nduhungirehe, announced that President of the Republic of Rwanda, His Excellency Paul Kagame, has decided to nominate Louise Mushikiwabo as a candidate for the position of Secretary General of the Organisation Internationale de la Francophonie. Adam Squizera has details.
Sous l'impulsion de Louise Mushikiwabo,
on October 12, 2018, Louise Mushikiwabo was elected Secretary General of the OIF for her first term, replacing Canadian Michael Jean, who had previously led the organization. Among her key priorities upon assuming office was strengthening reforms in the organization's governance. In 2022, in Djerba, Tunisia, Louise Mushikiwabo was the sole candidate for the position and was confirmed by consensus of country representatives gathered at the OIF General Assembly. That term focused on further consolidating governance reforms and implementing programs particularly in education and women's development, especially in developing countries. Speaking on the matter, Rwanda's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Olivier Nduhungirehe, said that Rwanda's decision to nominate Louise Mushikiwabo again was largely based on her outstanding achievements. Based on the Secretary General's exemplary performance, which has been highly valued and widely commended, and following consultations with her, Rwanda decided to once again submit Louise Mushikiwabo's candidacy at the OIF Heads of State and Government Summit, scheduled to take place in Cambodia, November. In November last year, Louise Mushikiwabo stated that several countries had already asked her to seek another term, and that she was only waiting for her home country to officially nominate her. In 2023, the OIF adopted a 4-year program comprising 20 projects, organized around 3 main pillars: education and culture, democracy and governance, plus sustainable development. These projects have introduced new ways of operating within the OIF, particularly by promoting the French language as a tool for enhancing education, strengthening learning systems, and advancing culture. The new approach also emphasizes improving civil registration systems, promoting human rights and democracy, advancing peace and national sovereignty, supporting economic development in OIF member states, and addressing climate change. The program further includes the promotion of tourism. To achieve those objectives, 330 staff members of the organization are expected to work closely with communities and national institutions. These initiatives are projected to increase the OIF's operational budget by 21%. Analysts say that the reforms introduced by Louise Mushikiwabo during her 2 terms have had significant positive impact on the organization's direction, particularly in education and women's empowerment.
And I believe that the decision by the government of Rwanda to support a candidacy came after evaluating Mushikiwabo Louise record as the Secretary General of OIF. You know, since she took over the helmet of the OIF in 2019, Louise Mushikiwabo has led the organization through a context marked by major challenges. Under her leadership, the OIF has elaborated on profound institutional transformation, aiming to strengthen its political credibility, its visibility, and its operational efficiency, while refining the political, culture, economic as a priority. So that's why I think the government of Rwanda has decided to take that decision through her experience in the outcomes of her candidacy.
Since its establishment in 1970, the organization has been led by 4 Secretary Generals: Egyptian Boutros Boutros-Ghali, Senegalese Abdou Diouf, Canadian Michael Jean, and Rwandan Louise Mushikiwabo. The OEF brings together more than 340 million people from 90 countries and governments worldwide. Rwanda has been a member of the OEF since its founding in 1970. Adam Squizera, RwandaTV News.
Moving ahead to other matters, the Ministry of Education announced that a nationwide hygiene campaign in schools has been launched across the country. It is expected to contribute to students' academic success by promoting good health. At the GS Karembre Schools Complex in Kigali City, the hygiene campaign was officially launched. Students committed to striving for cleanliness everywhere as it also supports their learning. The Minister of Education, Joseph Nsengimana, urged students to have clear goals in their studies and to maintain personal hygiene, cleanliness in their clothing and their surroundings. He also reminded parents of their role in helping children uphold hygiene. This campaign was launched nationwide and was attended by other government officials, where the Minister of Gender and Family Promotion, Consolé Ouimana, was at the Centre Scolaire Notre-Dame de Fatima School in Musanze district, and she said that this campaign will help continue promoting the culture of cleanliness in families as well. In Rubavu district, the Minister of Local Government, Dominique Habimana, joined students and teachers at the Amahoro in the Gisenyi sector in planting fruit trees and other trees. He reminded everyone that maintaining cleanliness is a sign of self-respect. The goal of this campaign is to promote the culture of hygiene and cleanliness in schools. It was launched nationwide on Monday and will be followed by inspections in 693 schools across the country. Still speaking of this campaign, teachers and school leaders have been urged to establish a solid hygiene program so that cleanliness and sanitation become the foundation of quality education and learning. At various schools around the country, students together with leaders participated in activities such as planting trees, learning how to maintain oral hygiene, and were also provided with supplies that help them maintain cleanliness. Students and teachers have committed to working together to promote hygiene in schools and their communities. The Minister of State in the Ministry of Education, Claudette Irere, urged teachers and school leaders to put in place a stable hygiene program. Students also demonstrated that they regularly contribute to improving hygiene by making water-based soap, hand sanitizers, and regular soap. Through this campaign, it is expected that schools will become ideal places for learning values, promoting good health, and preparing future citizens characterized by good manners, intelligence, and cleanliness. Now moving ahead, the ambassador of Brazil to Rwanda has called on Rwandans and Brazilians to deepen cooperation in key sectors, including trade and education, as a way of further strengthening bilateral relations between the two countries. She also emphasized the role of young people in this partnership, noting that young people from both nations stand to benefit significantly. The ambassador further highlighted the potential Visit to Rwanda program in promoting Rwanda as a destination for Brazilian visitors if implemented in Brazil. She made these remarks earlier today during an exclusive interview with our colleague Enora Gladys.
Brazil and Rwanda continue to enjoy strong and growing diplomatic relations in cooperation and also in people-to-people exchanges. Today we have the honor to be speaking with Her Excellency Irene Vidagala, the Ambassador of Brazil to Rwanda. Welcome very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. We are going to be discussing and also stating about the cooperation and the relation between the two countries, the shared values, and also the state of cooperation. To start with, Your Excellency Ambassador, could you please tell us the current state and cooperation of the two countries and also the key aspects and the key sectors in which it's really standing out too?
Sure. We must remember that formal relations between Brazil and Rwanda were established not too long ago in the 80s, and the two governments decided to establish their diplomatic representations in each other's capital just 2 years ago. So it's, I would say that what really brings us to this discussion is how new the relations are. We are building from nothing. I mean, we are starting completely afresh. So, and this is interesting for me because, for instance, the Rwandan government opened the embassy in Brasilia before we opened here. So it was in 2024. We opened the embassy here in 2025. So when I came, as a matter of fact, Ambassador Lawrence Manzi, the ambassador of Rwanda in Brazil, had already started with a number of areas that for Rwanda, I believe, are quite important. So I think that what marks our relations is the new conditions that everything is to be built. We can dream of many areas. We can think of many different aspects. But of course, I think when it comes to two countries that are in different continents, quite different sizes, we can think that the discussion can be very wide. We can go from education to cooperation. We, for instance, in the area of aviation, we can think of culture, many things.
Your Excellency Ambassador, what opportunities do you find in strengthening the ties between Rwanda and Brazil, particularly in areas such as trade, culture, education, as you recently highlighted?
Since we are picking up the things that we consider more important, my main concern is to listen to what the government of Rwanda and the people of Rwanda are saying, because we wanted to hear from you what are the aspects that you wanted to highlight in this relation between our two countries. From my side, from the side of Brazil, we have some ideas that are important for us. I think for a country like Brazil, and particularly at this stage, we consider Rwanda an important partner in the area of multilateralism. Rwanda has a strong position in some subjects, and I think that Rwanda is an example in terms of what an African country can build. And for us, this is very good. If we come to Rwanda with our agents, economic agents, cultural agents, and if they are here and they see what you have been doing over the last 30 years, that's going to be very positive in terms of what we can do together. So I think that example from the part of Rwanda is something that we expect. We see that government is quite dedicated to organizing a very consistent agenda. That's good, because we have to be proactive and work with the specific objectives. So I think that I love the idea of culture. I like sports. Education is something that is my cup of tea, let's say. But we have all the area of agriculture, investment in all the agribusiness sector. But of course, I personally, I've been here for about 6 months, a little bit more than that. I feel that Rwanda could receive something from Brazil that you don't have here. We don't buy Brazilian products here. And I think that we should have in the market some products from Brazil, because that's very much us. We are a little bit like this. For instance, all over the world, people have a Brazilian sandal that's called Havaianas. And you can't find Havaianas here, so it's funny. But we have some kind of drinks that we don't find. And I think that other countries are here. So Brazil needs now to compete with these other countries that are here. And I think we have the capacity to be a strong partner here, also in the area of trade.
Speaking of how you would like to cooperate with Rwanda and also things that you'd like to bring to Rwanda from Brazil, you've been recently highlighting the cooperation that can be happening between Rwanda and between Visit Rwanda and Brazil. How would you like to explain it even more, and how do you normally find Visit Rwanda?
When we look at Brazil in Rwanda and Rwanda in Brazil, something that we recognize is that people don't know about our countries. People in Brazil know about the genocide, but that's a little bit all. As a matter of fact, people know in Brazil that, people of a certain level, people in politics, the presence of women in politics. That's something that people know, that Rwanda is championing this with very positive results. But here people don't know almost anything about Brazil. For instance, I find it interesting that people don't know what is the importance of the black population in Brazil. More than 50% of the Brazilian population is of African origin. And this has a very strong impact in our culture, in everything that we do. So I think that when we don't know each other, it's difficult to dialogue. The Visit Rwanda is going to take Rwanda to Brazil. And then you have 214 million people who will be looking at Rwanda and say, well, what is this? What is this symbol? Why are they here now? And so it's the easiest way for one big population that's the size of Brazil, even the ones who don't know, who are not fun, who are not soccer supporters, they will understand that there is something new, that's this Visit Rwanda. So I think the Visit Rwanda is the best way for Rwanda to be known in Brazil. And the impact will be in business, but of course in tourism.
How can young people benefit, in both countries of course, benefit from the Brazil-Rwanda cooperation?
In terms of what is my agenda here, the agenda of Brazil, I have been highlighting, for instance, the impact of tourism, but I've also put a lot of strength in this dialogue of educational cooperation. I think that if we can give the opportunity for students from here to go to our universities, undergraduation, post-graduation, we are creating strong links for the future. Of course, when you have the first students going there, there will be an interest for Brazilians maybe to come here and to study here, to see what you are doing. But I think my main point is, we are countries that are in the global south. And what Brazil has in terms of special features of its development, I believe it's different, for instance, from what a Rwandese student that's going to Europe or to the United States. Because we have to teach our students at university what are the challenges of a people that's fighting poverty, that is fighting for democracy, that's fighting for reducing the level of reducing the differences in the community. We have people who are very rich, the people who are very poor, and we have to decrease. So social policies in Brazil that we have been developing. I think that for Rwandan students that go to Brazil, either in the area of social policies, economy, but of course in the area of engineering and so, but the idea of the social policies, I think it's interesting because countries of the South speak a very specific language. And that's the language that I think we can share. The way we see the world, the perspective, we look at how reality is being built, how development has been constructed. It's not all the same. And we are, let's say, in very similar positions, so we can work together.
Yes, yes. Lastly, Your Excellency, I would like to ask you to give us a message to the Rwandans about Brazil, of course.
My message would be, let's work together and know more about each other. Take us in good spirit. Whatever we are here to do, it's with the intention of reducing the differences and making the world a place of more understanding.
Such an insightful interview. Thank you, Nora Gladys, for bringing it on the table. Now, moving ahead, the Committee on State Budget and Patrimony in the Chamber of Deputies has urged the leadership of the City of Kigali to intensify efforts to accelerate development projects that are still at low progress levels during the first 6 months of the 2025-2026 fiscal year, which is currently underway. over 240 billion Rwandan francs were approved by the Kigali City Council as the budget for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, of which 47% has already been spent during the 6-month period. Among the projects, there are bridges facilitating the movement of people and vehicles that have been completed in Kigali City, with users reporting positive changes. Additionally, major road construction projects are underway, progressing at impressive levels. Residents expect these projects to bring significant improvements, especially in trade and transportation. However, despite some projects showing promising progress in the Kigali city, others do not inspire confidence that the 2025-2026 fiscal year will end with full completion. For example, the housing renovation project in sectors including Gitega, Nyabisindu, and Gatenga, valued at 28 billion Rwandan francs and over 400 million Rwandan francs, has currently reached only 31.7% completion. This, along with other projects below this completion rate, has led some members of the committee to question whether these projects will be finished within the year. The Deputy Mayor of Kigali in charge of housing and infrastructure, Fulgence Dusazibamana, explained that while projects are underway, lack of timely funding is one of the reasons causing occasional delays. The chairperson of the Committee on State Budget and Patrimony in the Chamber of Deputies, Honorable Det Uwamariya, emphasized that poor utilization of the budget negatively affects the country's development. She therefore called on the Kigali City leadership to accelerate the implementation of the ongoing projects. The inspection exercise of district authorities and Kigali City regarding budget utilization for the first 6 months of 2025-2026 began on Monday, January 12th, and will conclude on January 23rd, ahead of the adoption of the revised budget law. It is expected that Rwanda will spend just over 7 trillion Rwandan francs in the 2025-2026 fiscal year on activities including economic development, social welfare, and governance. Still on local matters, the Umbrella Organization of Genocide Survivors has expressed concern that some perpetrators of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, who are currently residing in European countries and elsewhere, are citing advanced age as a reason for not being able to stand trial. This presents a significant challenge to the pursuit of justice, especially as many of these individuals have lived in these countries for years without being apprehended or prosecuted. Lawyer Richard Gisagara, who represents survivors seeking justice in cases against alleged perpetrators of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, currently being tried in France, noted that 2025 marked a shift in the attitude of French judges and authorities regarding the gravity of the genocide and its underlying ideology. Nevertheless, the lawyers highlighted ongoing challenges in the judicial processes, both in France and other countries, which contribute to delays in delivering justice. Dr. Philbert Gakwenzire, the president of the Umbrella Organization of Genocide Survivors in Rwanda, emphasized that these prolonged delays mean that some survivors pass away before seeing justice served, and he also criticized the justification often given that accused perpetrators cannot stand trial due to old age, describing it as unacceptable. Currently, there are approximately 30 pending cases related to the genocide against the Tutsi under investigation or prosecution in France. Of these, 3 are scheduled for trial in 2026, with dates already set, including the appeal case of Claude Muhaimana, who was sentenced in 2021 to 14 years imprisonment for complicity in the genocide. Thank you, dear viewers, for staying with us. This marks the end of tonight's bulletin. We wish you a fruitful week ahead. Good night.